Hello, my name's Alison Rogers, and you are Moo Yi Kim, right?
Yes, that's right.
Thank you. Can you spell your surname for me, please?
It's Kim.
Thank you. Where are you from?
I'm from South Korea.
Thank you. Exam begins. LanguageCert General. Now, part 1. I'm going to ask you some questions about yourself and your ideas. First topic, free time. If you had unlimited free time, how would you spend it?
If I had unlimited free time, a lot of the time we'll probably be doing something not very important because if you have all the time in the world, then just on the internet or playing games. But also, some time it would go towards like working or some towards something because we have to have something to live. Those are just spending some time with friends and family or just doing some stuff like reading or sports.
Okay, those are some good activities. Thank you. Next, we move to food and drink. Do you prefer eating a home-cooked meal or going to a restaurant?
I prefer the meal at a restaurant, but sometimes it can be a bit of a hassle to go to a restaurant and everything. So sometimes it's just easier to have home cooked meal, but a home cooked meal isn't that bad, so it's still pretty good.
Thank you for your answer. Now, part 2. We're going to role play some situations. I want you to start or respond. First situation. I work in a bike shop. You want to buy a new bike. I start. I would recommend this bike. It's great and it's cheap. What do you think?
What can the bike be used for? Or is it more for like terrains and mountain biking or racing?
Because you said you live in Beijing, I thought that a road bike was more appropriate for you. Is that correct?
Yeah, I mainly needed to go places in Beijing.
In the city centre, right? So this is a road bike. It doesn't have a battery, so it's not electric. What do you think?
That's fine. I can just have a normal bike and that will be all right.
Okay, great. Thank you. And now we move to the second situation. I work in a language school and you want to change classes. You start.
Am I able to switch my classes?
Do you need to switch to a different day or a different class altogether?
I'd like to switch my the entire class altogether to a different one.
Oh, do you have a specific class in mind?
I'd like to switch it to the morning class, if that's all right.
Right, I see. I'm not sure if there is space in that class. I will need to check the class size. Could you tell me why you want to change?
To tell you the truth, I have a friend in that class and we like to study together.
Okay, I understand. Let me see what I can do and I will contact you about what's possible.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate it.
Of course, you're very welcome. Now we move on to part 3. Now part 3. You're going to read a short passage out loud. When finished, I'll ask you some questions about the topic of the passage. You now have 20 seconds to look at the passage, then I'll ask you to read it out loud. Okay, please start.
It's incredible how much litter gets dropped at beautiful places like national parks. In an online survey, 22% of visitors to one park admitted to dropping litter, despite being fully aware that it would pollute the natural environment. One explanation for such behavior could be what's known as the yuck factor. That feeling of wanting to get rid of a dirty packet or sticky bottle as quickly as possible, whether or not there's a bin nearby. There's also what scientists call the herd instinct. In other words, seeing that rubbish has already been dumped somewhere increases the likelihood of other people doing the same.
Thank you. Now I'm going to ask you some questions. What is the main point being made in this passage?
So a lot of people are littering at places, natural places like national park, even though they know it's wrong. And also it tells us why the reason that they do it would be.
Okay, yes, thank you for your summary. And how could tourists be discouraged from dropping litter in the places they visit?
There could be more bins in places like national parks, and also just telling them how it would affect the environment. Also, a bit more extreme, they could start fining people for littering.
Okay, yes, thank you for those interesting solutions. Now, let's go to part 4. In part 4, you're going to talk on your own for about 2 minutes. Your topic is how modern science has improved people's lives. You now have 30 seconds to write some notes to help you. So again, your topic is how modern science has improved people's lives. Okay, please start.
Okay. So modern science has had a big impact on how our lives are. One of the biggest, probably being the advances in medicine. A lot of diseases are now fully curable. Some just through vaccines, and some like through normal medicine, such the cold, like a long time ago, would have been very, very bad. But now it's just some sort of well, not everyday thing, but a very common thing. Also with they have had studies and they've shown that things like cigarettes are really bad for your health when not much was known about them, say 50, 60 years ago. And there is technology. It's helped us a lot, not only for convenience, also entertainment. It's really easy, like we have access to almost any knowledge in the world just by looking it up. And also just entertainment. There's so much more you can do just watching TV or on the internet. And also in sports, modern science has shown us how athletes can perform better with more concentration to things like diet and exercise. And it's probably easier to exercise now because we know what will help our bodies the most when we're exercising. So this modern science has really had a huge advancement in our lives.
Yes, indeed it has. Okay, thank you. Another question. Should more money be spent on scientific research?
Definitely more money should be spent. There's probably a lot of money spent, but in the development with sciences, there's so much stuff that we could achieve, like disease, like cancer, and advancement in like heart problems. Yes, I think heart problems are the biggest cause of death, and also just with an advancement in technology. We could explore more of the world and explore more of outside as well, like in space.
Yes, there is a lot to explore. Okay, thank you. That's the end of the exam.